What's up, everybody? It's Tony Tubes. And my apologies for coming out with a non-video podcast, but it's kind of how podcasts usually are most of the time. One of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I honestly don't want to be on camera talking about this shit. I wanted to get something out there. So you're listening to the Dakota Podcasting Experience, but soon I'm going to be kind of ending the Dakota Podcasting Experience and switching over to Tube Review, which is my old channel, which is where I do all my, well, it's not my old channel, it's my primary channel. And I'm going to be switching over to there and doing Tube's World podcasts and stuff. So it's basically going to be the same thing as the Dakota Podcasting Experience. I kind of wanted to just mesh everything together because Tube Review was, at first, it was all about movies. And then it became just kind of a platform for all of my artwork. And then I branched off and did Silver Screen, which is on a completely different channel and everything. And then I also branched out and did Dakota Podcasting Experience. So it's like, I don't want to pigeon-toe myself into like certain genres. I don't want the Dakota Podcasting Experience to be nothing but South Dakota stuff. I don't want Tube Review to be nothing but movies. You know, I just want one channel with everything, you know. That's all I really want. And since they're my pages, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Sorry, I'm smoking a cigarette here. I might cough a little bit. I kind of need a cigarette for this. So that's what's going to be happening is Tube Review has already changed on YouTube to Tube's World. I've already changed that up. I just haven't come out and said anything. And one of the reasons why I really haven't been doing much lately, guys, is because I've hit a bit of a rough patch the last couple months. And there's a lot of factors that go into it. And it's the first time that I've really ever experienced like true depression and anxiety. And so it's new to me. I've never really had to handle this stuff before. I've usually been able to cool myself out before shit got too real in my head. But I've had a couple panic attacks the last couple months, and it's just kind of deteriorated a little bit. And I'm just really not happy where I'm at. I mean, I love my family, I love my wife and my kids and everything like that. That's not the issue. The issue is just everything else, I guess. I'm going to start at what I think was the beginning of this all. And unfortunately, that took the shape of my trip to Hollywood. My trip to Hollywood provided me a couple of different things. I wouldn't say that it was like my ego was inflated or anything like that. I legitimately thought that I deserved to be on that show when I was. But I was also very like, holy shit, this is actually happening? Like, what the fuck? But when I got out there, I went and did the show, and I felt a real camaraderie with those guys. And in fact, even before I went out there, I felt a real connection with these guys because that's what their brain does. Their brain does movies. And that's what my brain does. My brain does movies. And I felt like I finally kind of found a posse of people that I could fit into, you know? It's always been kind of tough for me to fit into, social circles and stuff like that. I don't have a big one in my day-to-day life. So it was kind of refreshing to know that these guys saw something that I made and legitimately wanted me to come out and be on their show. And I felt right at home. I felt like I should be doing this for a living. That's what I thought. And that leads me up to the second part. After it was all done and we got done recording that fucking thing, and I was down on Hollywood Boulevard, and there's these like 3 catwalks up by the Cabo Wabo above Hollywood Boulevard that you can look out, on Hollywood Boulevard. You can see everything, And I was standing up there, not really knowing where the hell I was. I was just kind of like still in a daze of like, is this really happening? Am I really standing here right now? And then I get a phone call from my mama. And this would turn out to be one of the last lucid conversations that I had with my mom before she died. And so while I was sitting up there, she called me and she said some stuff to me that she never said to me before. And that was not like she never said she was proud of me, but she really wanted to drive it home to me. She sat there and, on the phone and said, "This is where you're supposed to be." She's like, you're on your path now, and you need to follow this because this is exactly who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And she was so proud of me. And she said, "Keep going, keep doing this, Tony, because that's what you were here. That's what you're here for, to entertain people and to use the knowledge that you have." In so many words. But I took that to heart, man. My mom never really told me that before. She told me she was proud of me before, but she never really talked about me having a path or what my path was supposed to be. A lot of people don't really get that information in their life. A lot of people don't get that information in their life. She kind of gave me the meaning of life, This is the meaning of your life. So I took that with me, man. And I thought to myself, I'm going to make something of this now. Of my 15 minutes of fame. And turns out, that's all it was. I tried getting back on that show. Tried talking to those guys. And I had a very good relationship with those guys when I was out there. Then when I got back here, I even told them out there, I was like, I'd love to, work with you guys and bring some of my own ideas and stuff like that. And one of them, Spencer, was even like, "Yeah, email me, man. Let's talk. Let's get some things going and shit." I emailed him and Dan and everybody and all the guys that were involved out there and stuff like that. And they all pretty much told me the same thing. "Sorry, kid." It hurt, man. Especially considering that my mom died. And that was one of the last things that she told me, was to keep going with this and don't stop. And all of that screen junkie shit mixed in with my mom dying and me left with this legacy that my mom told me I should fulfill, that really bittered me. And I see that now. Like, I've become a very bitter person because of all of that. Because of the screen junkie stuff. My 15 minutes, that's what I had, and now they're gone. And I tried doing my own thing with Silver Screen, and nobody fucking watched it. Nobody shared it. Some people did, but it didn't get any fucking traction, man. You know, I'm a part of all these sites on Facebook and stuff like that. Batman Addicts, DC, Marvel, Harry Potter, horror, all this stuff. And I'd post those silver screens to some of those things. You know, Indiana Jones group. I have a whole fucking episode for Indiana Jones. There's 41,000 people in that goddamn group. And they're always talking about Indiana Jones and shit. So I post that to that, and it doesn't even break 100. That is really disappointing, considering how much time and effort and money and emotion and passion that I put into that project, and having family members tell me that you know, oh, you shouldn't be, you know, wasting your time on this shit and everything and stuff like that. Just, and then it turns out that it just kind of fucking, you know, it didn't go anywhere. Didn't get any traction at all. And some of the sponsors that I even had didn't fucking fulfill their end of the agreement in the ways of they were going to promote the show and shit. Like, nobody fucking promoted that fucking show except for me and maybe about a dozen of my friends, and that's not going to get any traction anywhere. So I'm not blaming, you know, my audience or anything like that. I'm not, you know, but it sucked, man. It really sucked. The moment that my mom died, it's like everything just started dominoing in the wrong direction for me. You know, the only thing out of these last 5 years that I can say that I was really proud of was my musicians reunion stuff. Because I know how many people appreciated that. And even though that's a small number of people, you know, and I, you know, that wasn't something that was meant to go viral or anything like that. I just wanted to put on a fucking great last 3 shows. That was the best thing that I've done in the last 5 years. Everything else just hasn't gone anywhere. Even, you know, and I'm going to say this, and it might piss people off, but I'm going to fucking say it. Even the film festival thing that I was a part of. You know, I love all those guys that were a part of that mini documentary thing. But it really, really just kind of was a punch in the gut when I basically almost came in last fucking place, man. And here my documentary was something that I poured my heart into, something that was a part of me for so long, and that I was actually fortunate enough to film it. And I put together this documentary, and my friends, thank you everybody for all the people that voted for it, because we smashed a lot of votes early on and everything. But then I end up losing to, you know, there was a documentary in there that won the documentary showcase the last year, and it was the same documentary. It was just 20 minutes shorter. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, you know. And the documentary that ended up winning, and no offense to the guys that made it, it was just kind of a punch in the gut to me, was the fact that, you know, while I was editing this thing that we do, my documentary, you know, I wanted to use the song that fucking title came from, which is Louder Than Words by Pink Floyd. And it's all about, you know, these 4 guys that got together, or 3 guys, I guess, when they wrote that song and everything. These 3 guys that got together, Pink Floyd, you know, Richard Wright, David Gilmour, and Nick Mason. You know, these 3 guys, you know, the first line of that song is "We bitch and we fight." You know, these guys that might not get along so well and everything all the time, and they bicker and they argue and everything, but this thing that we do, there's this thing that we do, and it was about the music, and I wanted to use that in my documentary so bad. But I was like, copyright infringement, man. This is a fucking film festival. I cannot have any copyrighted material in there. I'll never make it past the fucking board, man. So I left it out. And I used all original, well, all the music that they played. That was the entire soundtrack to that whole thing, and I thought it turned out really fucking well. And then the documentary that beat me had copyright material in it. And I was just kind of like, it's a great fucking documentary, but what? Like, how are you going to have a documentary in a film festival when it has copyrighted material in it? And I was just kind of blown away by that, man. And that was just another fucking slap in the face to me, dude. And there was a lot of things, man, just haven't worked out. And so now I'm just trying to dig my heels into something else. And I don't know where to go, man. I don't know where to go from here because I'm in Redfield. If I try to put on Silver Screen Showdown again, it's going to be a fucking hell in a handbasket to get that son of a bitch going again. Dakota Podcasting Experience, there's only so many people that want to be on the fucking show. And I really want to have more guests and everything. But it's hard, man. It's hard to get people to want to be on the show. It's just tough, man. It's tough trying to do this stuff, and because I wanted to be like the movie guy, of this part of the state. I wanted people to be like, oh, there's this guy, and I wanted to be the movie critic, the one guy that everybody turns to, but that fad's kind of fading, So there's just and like I said, man, there's a lot of bitterness when it comes to those projects and how much time and effort and heart and soul that I pour into them just to have nothing come out of them or to get slaps in the faces during it. There's bitterness because I see so many evil and gross fucking people in this world. And this is the one that hurts me the most. I see so many evil and gross fucking people in this world, man. And I can't help but think to myself, my mom had to die. She was in no way a fucking saint or Mary Poppins or June fucking Cleaver. But this person's allowed to fucking live this shitty ass existence. And my mom is the one that's taken away. It's thoughts like that, man. Thoughts like that really fuck with me, dude. Then there's the whole aspect of I'm kind of alone around here. I got my wife and my kids, but I have, only a couple of other friends around. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to having friends when I go to work. Or having friends when I come home. Having friends that genuinely want me to do stuff. And I have to hand it to, my buddy Steve and my friend Amber and stuff like that. Because, it's not every day or anything. But, Amber's the only one that really calls me up and is like, hey, you and Ashley should come over for a bonfire. Or, hey, you should come over and do this and do that. And my buddy Steve pops over whenever he can. And it's just nice when he, texts me and says, hey, what are you doing? He just wants to cruise by and just hang out in my yard with his dog for a few minutes and just shoot the shit, Nobody's in it for anything but good company. And I don't get a lot of that. And I miss that. I really do. And at the same time, I have my best friend in the entire world is in prison in Arizona right now for a lot of really crazy shit, like fraud and grand theft and all sorts of shit, man. He's going to be in there for like 2 or 3 years. And I feel like I lost him a lot longer ago than that because he married a fucking crazy bitch. And I'm serious. I'll say that, man. That chick is a crazy bitch. And it's not like, it was entirely her fault that he went the way he did. But it definitely didn't help him. She definitely didn't help him. And I actually have to hand it to his ex-wife. Because I used to think she was such a bitch, man. I used to think that she was a bitch, and we didn't really get along that well, his first wife. And now I get it. She was keeping him in line a lot, and she had flaws. Don't get me wrong. She ain't a saint either. But I just get it. That woman was a mother bear, and this wife that he has now isn't. And it's just, but, his first wife, I kind of miss her in his life because she kind of kept him in check a little bit. But he's gone. And he's been gone ever since he came back here from Arizona back in 2013. And I pleaded with him. I begged him not to fucking marry that chick because she's just a dumbass, and she calls her kids it. It needs to be changed and all this. I mean, just a garbage fucking human being. And I remember I went over to his house one day, and I asked him, I was just, this is a long fucking time ago. And I just asked him, I was like, hey man, you want to smoke a joint or something like that? And he was like, no, I switched to meth now. And I was just like, what? Like, so matter of fact about it. Just like, Jesus, dude, my God. And at that point in time, I knew that my friend was gone. My friend was gone. Because he was just so nonchalant about it. And just, I knew that there was no way in hell that anybody was going to be able to tell him any different. And he was gone. And he was one of my main sources of, God, inspiration in my life. And I wouldn't be the guy that I was today without that guy, man. And I'd like to think that some of the coolness about him wouldn't be the way it is today if it wasn't for me. Not some of his darker traits, but the lighter side, the good stuff. And so there's that friendship. It's just gone until he gets out of prison and he gets his life straightened out. And I mean, I've definitely told him that, I'm here for him and everything, but it's tough, man. It's tough. Then I have one of my other friends she was a very, very good friend of mine. And after this last Silver Screen, after season 2 of Silver Screen, gone. Haven't heard from her since. I needed her help with one of the episodes. I've needed her counsel and her advice so much because she was one of my best friends, and she's no reason. She's just cut me off. She was always, she was always kind of hard to get a hold of, but it was like, this is ridiculous, man. I mean, and I understand people taking a break from Facebook and stuff like that. If it was just, hey, I wanted to take a year off of Facebook, I'm sorry, that kind of a thing, I would understand that. But I go on Facebook and she's liking and commenting on other people's posts. But she can't get a hold of me. She won't even look at my messages that I send her. And I send her stuff telling her, I'm in a bad place. I need you right now. I need to talk to you because I trust you. Nothing, dude. And she even told me 6 months ago or something like that, she said something, hey, I'll call you tonight. Never happened. Haven't heard from her since. That was probably the last time that I actually got a message from her. So the loss of my mom, and my grandma died right after my mom did. Oh wait, no, my grandma died before my mom did. Right after I went to Screen Junkies out in LA, and then 3 days later I went to my grandma's funeral. But I lost my grandma, lost my mom, lost my best friends. It's tough, man, not having anybody that nobody ever just texts me or calls me or anything and just says, how are you? How are you doing, Tony? I always just felt like I was just kind of stupid old Tony to everybody. Like I just, and there's people dying all over the fucking place. People that I know dying every couple months. Somebody I know dies, and it's rough, man. I never have dealt with change very well. So add that to the bitterness of life and the fact that I live in this small ass fucking town where it's it just drags you down, man. Like, I am not a small town boy. I'm a city boy. And not like, I'm not saying like, big metropolis, even though I would love that. But, I was kind of grown up in college towns and shit, man. I'm not used to this. I can't go anywhere without seeing somebody from work. I'm not used to this whole, I go to work and half the people I work with, are trumpeters and shit. And it's hard, man. So the last couple months have been really, really difficult for me. And for a little bit there, I just went blank for about 5 or 6 days. I kind of freaked out one day, and not like my kids haven't seen any of it. My wife has seen a little bit of it. She's aware that it's, that's a thing and everything like that. And she's been here for a lot of tears, but like, I try to keep it away from my kids. But I freaked out for a little while. And then I just kind of went blank for like a week, where there was just nothing. I had like no emotion. I was just drained of everything, man. And I couldn't bring myself to go to work for a few days there. And it's just been rough, dude. And my wife said it the best. She said, I think that, your mom's death affected you a lot more than you like to think that it did. And as the days go on, she's probably right, the only things that make me happy in this world are the things that make me the happiest in this world, besides, my kids and my family and everything, is entertaining people, and that's why I love doing the musicians reunion. I wish I could do that every year, but it's gone now. That's gone out of my life. That was my favorite night of the year was musicians reunion every year. And now that's gone. And I do stand up and everything, but I do it in Aberdeen, South Dakota. With some people that, I love like all the artists but there's one artist in particular that does stuff up there that I just really, it really just sours me from it a lot. Because, and even the last time that I did stand up at Slackers, and it's on there, it's on YouTube. The last time I did in June, Slackers, this dude that I kind of had a falling out with, he went on before me. Well, he was, he went on before me and everything. And I remember thinking to myself during his set, wow, he's gotten a lot better. He's gotten some new jokes. He's fine-tuned some of the old ones. It's not just the same old jokes, and he's done really good. And I sat there watching his set thinking to myself, wow, I should really try to bury the hatchet with this guy. I should really try to, apologize for, some of the things that happened between us and everything. And so I thought to myself, I was trying to be the bigger man and trying to be so bitter about stuff and try to extend an olive branch to this dude. And I got done with my set, and I remember saying at the end of my set, I said, well, guys, they told me that we can't leave after our set, and we have to stay here and watch the entire show and everything, but I can't. I have to go, and I'm really, really sorry, but, I have, my in-laws are watching my kids, and I got to go pick them up, and, blah, blah, blah. And then I say that at the end of that video on Tubes World, my last stand-up thing at Slackers. And I cut the camera off right before he said it. He got up there, same dude, and he said, hey, give it up for Tony Tubes, everybody, and just letting you know, Tony, nobody cares if you leave or not. And I was just like, wow. Like, holy shit, man. There goes that idea. Fuck. Just little shit like that, man. And that's why I went to the Black Hills a couple weeks ago. My wife said, Tony, I was sitting there and I was just having a really bad day. And she said, Tony, you need to get the hell out of here for a little while. And, the first place that I thought of going was the Black Hills. Because I haven't been out there since Mom's funeral. Hadn't seen my grandma since my mom's funeral. And just wanted to go out there and be amongst her presence a little bit, And it was, man. It was very, very nice in a lot of ways. And I didn't cry once while I was out there. I just soaked it in, man. And my aunt, thank God for her, she had a little house in Sturgis that she rents out, and no one was renting it at that time, so she said I could crash there. Like 2 blocks from my grandma's house, man. Go outside for my morning cigarette. Standing there. No kids hollering at me. Don't have to worry about taking the dogs out or anything. I just wake up, go outside, and I look to my left and there's hills, and I look to my right and there's hills, and the smell is different and the vibe is different, and I feel my mother again, And it was just one, because one of the reasons why I went out there, man, was because every day of my life, all day long, whether I'm at work or I'm at home, it's constant questions. Everything that people say to me, there's a question mark at the end of it. And I just wanted to get away from that for a little bit and just not have anybody need anything from me. And I went out there and I saw my Uncle Greg and his new girlfriend, Stacy. And that was really cool. Haven't seen my Uncle Greg in a while. I used to really look up to my Uncle Greg when I was a kid. And it's really cool to see him so happy and stuff, and just wanting me to be a part of it all, saying hello, family. It was really nice. And my cousin Mason and his girlfriend Chloe, and my cousin Mason couldn't have picked a better girl to get with, man. Like, she's a really, really awesome chick. And I kind of got to give her credit too, because she came around like around the same time as my mom's funeral. That's when they kind of got together, and I think that really kind of helped save Mason from some of the emotions that came with all that. And Chloe's mom, she was really cool, and it was just, and they all came to my show. They all came to my stand-up show. And it was just, my Uncle Greg couldn't make it, but Mason and Chloe and her mom Jamie and her friend, God damn it, I forget her name now. But they all came to my show, and they loved it. They had a ball. We all had a good time, man. And it was just, seeing my grandma, seeing my aunt, and got to spread some of my mama's ashes in my grandma's garden. And it was just, I felt at home again. Because I have family. And, they were happy to see me, man. I don't get that a lot. Nobody around me's ever really happy to see me. Unless I'm saving somebody's ass at work. It's tough on me, man. I just don't feel like I have many people around here. And I got back from the hills and I was just like, Ashley, we need to fucking move out there, man. Because it was just nothing but good family. And, you know, I don't want to hate on my dad's side of the family at all. But they're, you know, they've always just kind of, oh, hi, Tony. How are the kids? You know, all that stuff. And it's just, I was always kind of the black sheep of that family because I'm the only one that's ever been to jail. I'm the only one that smokes and has, you know, I'm more like my mom's side of the family. And that's who all's out in the Black Hills, man, you know. And it's not like they're like degenerates or anything like that, but they're more like me. And I miss them. And I remember when I was a kid, well, a teenager, you know, my mom would be like, Tony, Mason really wants to hang out with you and stuff like that. And you should, I was sitting there like, come on, dude. He's like, what, fucking 10? What the hell am I going to do with this kid, man? Like, I was 18 and partying, man. You know, like, I didn't give a shit. I'm just like, what is it about this fucking... Mason always looked up to me, man. And if I ever could say that I had a brother, it'd be him. Because I think he understands my mind. The only other person that understands my mind like him is my wife and my best friend who's in prison and who is rather fucking dark soul these days. So I need to, man. I need to get the hell out of here. I need to go where my people are. And those are my people. And it was nice to go to a comedy club and not have to see that fucking jackass. Like, it was really nice to go to a new comedy club and God, those guys were funny, man. The guy that went up right after me, he was fucking hilarious. They were all funny, but he was fucking hilarious, man. It's just been, that was a very, very emotional trip, but I didn't cry once. You know, Sturgis will always have a big place in my heart. It's where our family vacations were to see my grandpa and my grandma. They were always divorced when I was a kid, you know, but grandpa had the big house on the hill that overlooked all of Sturgis, and grandma had the one in the heart of fucking Sturgis right down by Main Street and everything. And beautiful homes, each of them. And just lots of love out there, man. And I remember just that morning, that first morning, Thursday, when I went out there. Went out there Wednesday, and I got there Wednesday night and hung out with Mason and stuff. And then I kicked off to Sturgis to go stay at the house. And I got up and basked in it all. And then I drove through that like Sturgis Canyon on the way out to Fort Meade and Bear Butte and everything. And driving through that fucking canyon, man, so many memories when I was a kid of driving through that fucking canyon. Grandpa giving me motorcycle rides through that canyon and shit. Then I went out to Fort Meade, and it was a rather cloudy day, but the clouds were hanging just right above Bear Butte, like you couldn't see the top of it, and it looked fucking sweet, and I should have gotten a picture of it. But I just felt like I was home. I've always felt like that was my place out there. Someday. So, yeah, this all has just kind of hit me the last couple months. And I kind of finally know what depression feels like and anxiety feels like. Not being able to go to work because you mentally just can't handle it. Not being able to go out of your house because you mentally can't handle it. And it's just very stressful and it's very depressing, and I'm really, really sorry if I've come off as a jackass to anybody in the last few months. You know, I've lost a lot of fucking people. Everything that I've touched turns to shit, it seems. Everything I create turns to shit. Money problems. Fucking just everything and anything, man. Not knowing my place in the world. Not knowing exactly which road to take that would lead me to where I would like to be. You know, it's just been really tough. And I'm just struggling, guys. So I'm really sorry if to my two fans, I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to really put anything out lately. It's been quite the fucking ride, man. So, like I said, I'm gonna post this on the Dakota Podcasting Experience, but this will be the last thing that I post on the YouTube channel of the Dakota Podcasting Experience. So, if you guys want more and you don't know yet, I'll put the link in the description below to Tubes World, which is my old tube review YouTube channel, and that's where you can find all my movie stuff and my stand-up and a lot of the musician stuff and the documentary I was just talking about. Like everything that I was just talking about is on there. I'm gonna close down the Silver Screen Showdown channel sometime after I get I'm gonna re-upload all those episodes to Tubes World, so that's where you can find those after that. And so yeah, I mean, this this isn't what I want it to be about. I don't want to be that depressing dude. And God knows who's actually going to listen to this and who's going to give a shit. But I just figured for the few people that actually do care out there, about, the stuff that I'm doing, and they actually make time out of their day to, to watch whatever I have that's new and stuff. First of all, thank you. And second of all, there will be more to come. I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things, man. I'm trying to get back into a better headspace, and I really want to quit smoking cigarettes soon. That way it'll be a little bit more money in my pocket, and I won't be so fucking, hopefully, like, I won't feel so sick all the time and shit, and I won't be so out of breath and coughing all the fucking time. And I'm really in the headspace where I really want to quit, but I don't want to smoke cigars. I don't want to vape. I don't want to do any of that shit. I really don't. I don't want to replace it with a different addiction in the ways of something that's bad. I want to do like the Train Spotting 2 quote, if you're an addict, then be addicted. Just be addicted to something else. And that's what I need to get in the swing of something else. And so I'm slowly working up to it. Stress and wanting to quit smoking don't really go together very well. So yeah, subscribe to Tubes World. I'll put the link in the description below and such. And I still want to talk about movies. I still want to talk about current events that are happening in South Dakota. I still want to talk about just my personal opinions on things and all sorts of stuff. And so that's what Tubes World is going to be. Tubes World is going to be a combination of all of them. So that's going to be my artistic channel. So thanks for listening, if anybody made it through. But yeah, it's been rough. And any support you want to throw at me, you know, I'm not fishing for compliments or anything like that, but it goes for anybody, man. Sometimes it's nice to know that people out there care. And, you know, another couple people that I saw when I was in the hills was Ronnie and Mandy Little Bear out in Spearfish. And God, it doesn't matter what is going on in my life. When I see that fucking Indian, everything, all my problems just drift away. And me and him are always on the same boat. And that's, you know, we always won in poker when we play together. You know, we'd play off each other. And it was just, I've functioned better around Ronnie Little Bear. He's a good piece of my soul. And I really wanted to thank them for having me that night and showing me a good time and just reminding me that my life isn't over around here, you know. Redfield isn't hell, but you can fucking see it from here, you know what I'm saying? I think Robin Williams said that. But thanks, guys. Subscribe to Tubes World. I'm gonna redo the Anchor channel, the Anchor Podcasting channel, to just Tubes World and stuff like that instead of Dakota Podcasting Experience. So, if you are, you know, wanting to listen to this in a podcast form and not on YouTube and stuff, then you can do it on the Anchor app. And I don't know when I'm going to change it over, but it's still Dakota Podcasting Experience right now. So, but I'll get it changed over here soon. But thanks, guys, for listening. And for those of you that actually made it through the whole thing, thanks. And thanks for whatever kind words you may want to fling at me. I just in a rough spot these days, guys. And it's a different rough spot than I've ever been in. And that's what kills me the most. And there's a lot of old emotions coming up and emotions that never came up before that needed to come up probably. So, I don't know. I'm going to start looking into some therapy. I've never done that before. The last person that tried to do a psychological profile on me when I was in jail, he told me that I was untestable. So, who fucking knows what that's going to be like. But you guys take it easy. And I'll bounce back. I'm just trying to find my path. And my wife is a very, very big reason why I'm doing as well as I am. And my kids, I just look at them and smile, man. Even though they annoy the piss out of me sometimes, even though they fight with each other and shit. I made some pretty damn good kids. So, you guys take it easy. Thanks for listening to Tubes World and the Dakota Podcasting Experience. And I'll see you when I see you.